Hi friends, brothers and sisters, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for coming back and giving me your support. I also thank those of you who have given me comments for my previous video. So for those of you who are new to my channel, if you have not watched what is this whole channel about, you can always watch my previous channel as I share with you what is my channel about. So I do have some struggle keeping to my goals of trying to post one video every 2 weeks. So it is something which a goal I've set for myself and I am trying to keep it. So if you're wondering what is setting goals and struggling to set your goals, you can always watch my previous channel, right? Before I begin, Happy Chinese New Year. So now we are in this period of the Lunar New Year of 2025, and that's where I actually set my goals and I'm gonna keep to it. And for those of you who are here today, you have a very interesting topic of how to engage, have a very engaging meal time, right? So I also do struggle with that if on a daily basis, like before the food comes, when we are queuing and then the kids are like everywhere, they have like so much energy, and what do we actually do about it, right? So I'm going to talk about two different phases. One is before the meal, right, where you are actually queuing, and even if you are seated right before the food comes, and of course like during the meal, like what do you do, right? So one thing that I've tried a few times that is working, right? One way is when we are queuing, we can actually have a conversation with them, talk to them, or look at that, look at this, how's your day, how's everything, have you learned something, practice something that they have learned, ask about things that they are interested in, right? So that is all about like conversation, and how much can you talk about? There's only so much things you can talk about, and that is more like verbal and a little bit like cognitive kind of thing. Whereas kids, they have a lot of energy. They are always filled with energy. Once they are recharged, they are like a catalyst ready to go. They have so much energy. So what do we do about it? So one day, there was one time we actually tried to, why not let the kids just be free? In Singapore, we actually very constrained by a lot of like rules, a lot of regulation and everything, and then we are so afraid of people looking at us, and then why are you letting your kids doing this and doing that? So as you can see, this is what I've let my kids done. We were queuing for dinner that day, and peak period golden hours, we have missed the pre-dinner timing, and then we have to start queuing with the crowd. So the kids just enter school and they are full of energy. So what we do is let them have a little bit of freedom while keeping to some safety constraint. So the guideline given to them is that you are not supposed to go past this line where there's a water body. They might just trip and they might just fall. And when they're running around, they do not get to bump into other people. They will be standing like trying to be not cause a nuisance. However, the big space that's available, the kids, the children, Matthias, Matildas, and even Matthias, they are running. Look at them, they are so running happily. They're just running all over the place, and that's the kind of activity, the kind of joy that all children should have. And a lot of times when they were in school, it's all about like rules, about like sitting down, listening and following rules, and they are so constrained by all these things that at the end of the day, when they come back to us, just like how we were when we are at work, we are also tired, and you end the day, you come back, you just want to let loose, you just want to have a little bit of freedom without so much constraint. And imagine after school you just come back, and then your parents or we as parents, they tell children like, no, sit down, follow this, know that. It's a lot of struggle for them, and you also do not want to be bounded. Imagine when you were younger, and even sometimes until now, your parents or people come and tell you, you should not be doing this, you shouldn't be doing that, you should be following this, following that. So likewise for our children, they also want to have a little bit of freedom, right? So look at them running around, expending some energy. So this is some of the physical energy that they can actually expend right before the meal. Alright, so this is also the meal time activity that you can consider with them, right? So then now you get to move in. You have a seat, you get to move in, right? You can actually consider two things. One is continue, let them run outside until the food come. The other thing is get them to come in. So when you get everyone to come in, which is what we usually do, right? We always move together as a family, and then sit at the table. What's next? Right? You could, just go back to like what we discussed, like conversation. How about, right, this time round, what's the thing that's on our mind? We want to order food. So get them engaged in choosing what they want, helping with the ordering the food if they are old enough, right? And the whole process, giving out utensils and even having a discussion or what do I like to eat, what do I not like to eat. We have eat this before, so the whole activity, the whole conversation now revolve around the topic of ordering food. So that's actually one activity. Then ordering food could be a little bit faster, a little bit slower, and then what's next? So that could be a short period of time, could be a bit longer, scanning QR code, scrolling through the menu and having a bit of discussion, choosing what to eat and everything. And then you have this time whereby you order food and you have to wait for the food to come. That's a very, very challenging period. And a lot of time, right? I mean, if you look around, if you go for gathering, now it's Chinese New Year, if you've been outside eating, a lot of times, a lot of parents resort to the easiest way out. That's with a digital device. I've shared the not so good part about giving them a digital device whereby they are just being distracted with it, and the family time, the purpose of eating together is just lost through this digital device, right? So what could we do? There are times that we tried, busy book, activity books will help. Storybooks, if your child is old enough, they can actually read the storybooks, or even just bring a book and then it's like a story time, like bedtime story. You read them the book and they're done with the day. So it's like engaging activity together as a family and not on digital device. So this is one thing that actually help with the distraction of like digital device, whereas they are not being put away with the digital device. However, it's a common activity that the whole family can do together. So that you could also argue that a book is like, everyone is just reading their book, doing their own things, and not having conversation. So when your children is a little bit younger, right, get them to all do something together, right? They could just read a book together, or even if you find that it's a bit distracting, a bit difficult because of the age band and everything else, so maybe one of them can do their own coloring. They can do their own busy book. Probably I will engage with Matthias because he's the youngest and he needs a little bit more guidance. And probably Matthias is a little bit older, he can read his own book or even do anything that he enjoys doing. And that actually helps to relieve the pressure of trying to engage them. Keep trying to engage them in conversation. I don't understand some parents also give their children toys. They're young enough, they have toys and everything. However, right, once the food is served, this is a very, very important and crucial period, right? And this also applies to the digital device. If you do not start something, it will not carry on. So you have to start at the very beginning and to start this routine, start this. You could find a time to start it, right? So refer back to my previous channel on how to set goals, right? Choose a time. You don't really need to start it at the very beginning of the year, very beginning of the month, very beginning of the week. Anytime you want to start this, today, children, we are going to start a new routine. This is what we will do during mealtime. We will actually do this, and this, and keep to it. Once or twice at the very beginning, there's a struggle. You might be thinking, is this the right decision? Is this what I want to do? But after a while, after you get it done, once or twice, you'll be like, the children will know. However, if you do not start at the very beginning, you'll be struggling. You'll be like, they are fighting this battle with me, so I will let them be. Once you let them be, you start something, right? You're just gonna go down that path, right? So if you want to stop something, right, reverse back. Go back to how it all started. Go back to a little bit of like struggle, challenge, a bit of battle. And then once the children know exactly what you want, especially when they are a little bit much younger, like 2 to 3 years old, or even up to 6 years old, 7 years old, they can still understand a little bit of things. Maybe Matthias is a bit older, he's in primary school. I will have a conversation with him. I will have some negotiation with him. What is it that you want? But if you set your rules very clearly, no digital device means no. You could have this activity book, yes, but it's not throughout the mealtime. So once the food is served, right, all these things should be removed. The book should be removed, the toys should be removed, any other thing should be removed, because what's the focus? The focus is on the food. So now we'll focus on the food, right? Keep all the toys away. Some parents will be like, okay, come, you continue to play with your toys, and then the parents is just feeding them, or they're like glued to the digital device, just watching the video, and then the food just comes. So all these actually do affect the digestions, the food intake. A lot of times when they eat just because the food is here, they eat. They do not have this idea of, I'm feeling hungry, it's time for meal time, I need to eat, right? It's just the food comes to me, I eat. The food comes to me, I eat. I don't know how much I'm eating, I don't know what I'm eating, because I'm stuck. Over time, when they're a little bit older, right, they do not have this habit of actually eating by themselves, or even feeling hungry, or how much do they need to eat, or what they're eating. It is just a avalanche effect, right? It's just going to snowball from there. So I would say, right, pre-meal, you could consider this suggestion, right? Just let them have a bit of activity, expend their energy. When you are seated down before the food comes, prepare some books, some activities for them to do, right? Or even engage them in the ordering of the food and all these things. When the food comes, remove all these things, all the toys. Some of the parents still allow them to play toys. So remove all these things and focus on the food. You could have some conversation on, like, how is the food? How do you like the food today? Are you hungry today? What do you have your previous meal? So for example, if you're having dinner, right, some conversation over that. What do you have for lunch in school? Right? Do you like what you eat? Right? What is this that you are eating today? How is the food? Do you like it? Do you want it the next time? Right? So when they choose the food at the very beginning, now then they can actually talk about the food that they have chosen. It's their choice, right? Probably they still, I want to try someone else's food. Do you want to try my food? How do you find the taste? Yeah, so then the conversation will be from there. Probably if you find it very difficult to engage in some conversation, then comment meal, right? I can send you some questions on how you would like to have a conversation during the mealtime, right? So that is pre and during mealtime, how to keep them engaged. After mealtime, some of the kids, some of the children finish their meal so much faster. So what can happen? A lot of time they'll be like, okay, I'm done with my meal, I'm just gonna get out of my seat. So if you do not keep this routine of, once you're done with the meal, continue sitting and then have this meal with the family, because it's a protected time that we have with the family. If you allow any children to actually, any child to leave the seat, if you allow that to happen, the next child will follow suit. They'll be like, okay, I'm done, I will make a fuss, I want to get out, right? So at the very beginning, I would say, in the pre-phase, right, we will start them off with sitting on the high chair. It's not like we bound them there. It's just a routine that we have set. So we sit them down on the high chair, they will join us together the meal. Then when they're a little bit older, we move them onto a booster. So the booster is still something similar to a high chair. It's just a little bit more spacious, I would say, right? Eventually, then when we have our youngest son Matthias, right, then they all progress. So Matthias actually moved off from the booster. He's being able to sit at a seat, right? Matilda is on the booster, Matthias is on the high chair. Right, so this process, they actually, since young, they actually accustom themselves to actually sit on the high chair, to sit on the booster, and then they know to sit together during mealtime. Even when they're done, they are encouraged to sit. And through this routine, they actually know that mealtime will all be together. So then you ask me, what if I do not have this routine? I didn't start this all at the very beginning. It's not too late, right? You could start now. Start now. Tell them that, okay, this is what we'll do. This timing, when is it? We're gonna start something new, right? I want you to be seated for a maybe fixed period of time, right? And then we're all gonna finish our meal. If you're done with your meal, you could either sit there quietly to do your things, or you could have a conversation, right? I just want you to be around together as a family for our meal. And if you're wondering, how is it possible that my children eats by themselves, right? Take the food and have it. So this is something that I will talk about in my next video on baby-led weaning, right? So like, subscribe, and just watch my next video. Right, till next time. Bye bye.